Ever wondered why sometimes your decisions don't result in the expected outcomes? It could be due to cognitive biases. These are mental shortcuts that our brains take when processing information and making decisions. They're like little glitches in our thinking that can significantly influence our decision-making process. Now let's bring this into the world of business analysis. Imagine you're a business analyst. Your role involves a lot of problem solving and decision making, doesn't it? Now what if these cognitive biases sneak into your analysis? It could lead to overlooking crucial data, misjudgments, skewed analysis, and even overconfidence in your assessments. Quite a pickle, right? But don't worry, being aware of these biases and understanding how they work is the first step in mitigating their impact. So stick around as we delve into some of these cognitive biases and how they can affect your role as a business analyst. Understanding cognitive biases is the first step to enhancing the quality of analysis and decision-making. First off, we have the confirmation bias, a common cognitive bias that can significantly affect the work of a business analyst. Picture this: you are an analyst and you've formed a hypothesis. You're convinced it's correct, so you begin to seek out information that supports your theory. But wait, you're unknowingly falling into the trap of confirmation bias. This bias is a sneaky one. It nudges you to cherry-pick data that aligns with your preconceived ideas, causing you to overlook evidence that might contradict your beliefs. The result? A skewed analysis that leans heavily towards what you initially thought was correct, and recommendations that might not reflect the full picture. So how can we combat this? By challenging our assumptions and actively seeking out diverse perspectives. It's not always easy, but it's vital to ensure a balanced analysis. Remember, it's essential to challenge your assumptions and consider all evidence, not just those that confirm your beliefs. Next, we have the anchoring bias, another cognitive bias that can influence a business analyst's judgment. Anchoring bias is when we rely heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, often referred to as the anchor. This initial anchor can set the tone for all subsequent decision-making, potentially leading us astray from more accurate or relevant data that comes later. Imagine a business analyst presented with an initial estimate for a project's cost. That figure, regardless of its accuracy, becomes the anchor. It's the number they refer back to, even when new, potentially more accurate information comes to light. This can lead to significant errors in judgment and analysis. The danger of anchoring bias lies in our reluctance to adjust our thinking based on fresh data. It's a bias that can subtly blind us, causing us to overlook critical updates or changes in a situation. The key is to be open to adjusting your thinking based on new information. There are several other cognitive biases that can affect a business analyst's work. Let's start with the availability heuristic. This is when analysts overvalue information that's easily accessible or memorable, often overlooking less prominent but equally important data. This can lead to skewed analysis, as it may not fully encompass the broader range of data necessary for informed decision-making. Next, we have the overconfidence bias. Analysts may sometimes overestimate their abilities or the accuracy of their analysis. This can lead to errors in judgment, as it may cause them to overlook potential risks or alternative perspectives. It's always good to maintain a healthy level of skepticism and seek external validation to counter this bias. Then there's hindsight bias, where past events are perceived as more predictable than they actually were. This could lead to an inflated confidence in one's predictive abilities, potentially compromising future analysis and decision-making. Groupthink is another common bias, especially in team settings. The desire for consensus can overshadow critical evaluation, leading to conformity rather than exploration of alternative ideas. Encouraging diversity of thought and open discussion can help counteract this bias. The sunk cost fallacy can also impact business analysis. This is when analysts continue investing resources into a project based on past investments, even when it would be rational to cut losses and change course. It's important to base decisions on future potential rather than past costs. Lastly, we have the recency bias. This is when analysts give more weight to recent information or events, often at the expense of longer-term data or trends. This can narrow the focus of the analysis and potentially lead to short-sighted decisions. A broader, more holistic view of data can help mitigate this bias. Awareness and understanding of these biases can help you avoid pitfalls and enhance your problem-solving abilities. Remember, no one is immune to these biases, but recognizing them can certainly help ensure more accurate and effective business analysis. So, to wrap up, cognitive biases can significantly impact the work of a business analyst. In the course of our discussion, we've explored how various cognitive biases can influence decision-making processes, problem-solving abilities, and overall analysis in the realm of business analysis. Confirmation bias, for instance, can lead analysts to overlook valuable data that challenges their preconceived beliefs, resulting in skewed analysis and potentially misguided recommendations. Anchoring bias, on the other hand, can tether analysts to their initial pieces of information, making it difficult to adjust their thinking based on new data. This bias can lead to errors in judgment and analysis, as the first piece of information may not always be the most accurate or relevant. The availability heuristic and recency bias can cause analysts to overestimate the importance of readily available or recent information. This can result in a skewed analysis, as analysts may focus on easily accessible data or recent events at the expense of a broader range of data or historical trends. Overconfidence bias can lead to errors in judgment, as analysts may be overly confident in their assessments without considering alternative perspectives or potential risks. Hindsight bias, meanwhile, can distort an analyst's perception of past events, making them seem more predictable than they were and undermining the effectiveness of their analysis. Groupthink and the sunk cost fallacy are other cognitive biases that can influence business analysis. Groupthink can result in a lack of critical evaluation of ideas, while the sunk cost fallacy can lead to suboptimal decision-making as analysts continue investing resources in a project based on past investments, even when the rational choice would be to change course. Being aware of these cognitive biases and actively working to mitigate their impact is crucial for any business analyst. It's not enough to simply understand these biases. One must actively work to counteract them. This can be achieved through techniques such as seeking diverse perspectives, challenging assumptions, and conducting thorough data analysis. By challenging assumptions, seeking diverse perspectives, and conducting thorough data analysis, you can mitigate the influence of cognitive biases and enhance the quality of your analysis and decision-making. Thanks for watching.